I love to see a good money conversation, and that's why we're taking a look at TLC's show 90 Day Fiance, where people basically get married to foreigners and then they bring them to the US. But there's a massive problem here that's probably going to be very juicy. We have the husband that's sending over $700 a month over to his parents outside of the US while basically ignoring his family, and his wife is not happy. So let's see exactly how this entire thing is going to unravel. By the way, I'm an immigrant. I've seen this happen a lot of times with some of my friends. So let's see exactly how they manage it. I'm gonna tell you what they did right, what they did wrong, and also what we can all learn from this, okay? Let's get right into it.
I wish you know that my heart is still thinking about you, think about my dad, but I need to taking care of my kids first.
If you got a big heart and you are a real someone, man, you have enough to share for everything.
So right here, just to set up this entire scenario, we have the husband. This is the husband, and that is his mother. And he's basically telling them, I have a good heart. I want to send you money, but I just don't have it. And she's basically saying, if you are a real man, a Samoan man, which by the way, the average salary in Samoa is about 900 USD a month. So that's something to take into account, okay? And she's not happy about that, okay? Let's keep watching.
But everything here, it's expensive. So if we didn't pay the bills, we're gonna sleep on the street. I want to let my mom know that I'm struggle hard. Life here in America is not same life in Samoa. Life in Samoa, you can live without money. You can plant taro near your house. You sleep free in your own house. But here, it's different.
That's very true, you know, and a lot of third world countries specifically, a lot of people, believe it or not, they own their own homes. Although their homes might not be the fanciest, they actually own it. They don't have to worry about paying rent. Although that is kind of changing here in Dominican Republic. But he is making a good point, right? The good point is basically, I have a family, I have responsibilities, things are expensive here, and to send a big chunk of my income over to Samoa to help you guys out, well, it might not be feasible. But I want to see, is this the truth? Because sometimes you have people that are in the US and their families basically struggling and they forget about their families. And yes, we do have a responsibility with our families, not to make them rich, not to take care of all their needs, but to be able to assist, you know, especially because this is his mother and his father we're talking about.
You see mom right there? That's where people didn't pay their bills and their rent.
Oh, yeah, he's showing you the homeless.
You want your grandkids to be
No, I don't.
starving
I
on the
don't.
street? No, we don't want that. If we send money to my family, and how can my family know? How can my kids? If my family wants money from me, I will say.
Now you can see, right? His mom is just like stone cold in the sense of like he's over here crying and then she's over there just like straight face. And by the way, I would used to think that it was actually pretty mean and so on, but I've learned throughout the years that as a man, you know, you can be heavily manipulated just by somebody crying. So you have to control your emotions, especially when you're trying to express things. And I do feel like basically saying, putting things into a scale, right? If I send you money, my kids are going to be homeless. I don't think that's accurate for the most part. And I think his mom is kind of aware of that. And I think that's why she's not falling for it. I mean, the woman is hard in that sense, right? So it's like, it's a little bit manipulative in that sense. And all the crying stuff, it doesn't get me as it would if I wasn't as mature as I am today. Let's keep watching though.
And what about my kids? They will die. It's not, I don't want that to happen.
Please, my son, don't cry.
I love my
Did you see that? I think I just saw like a little smirk from his wife. Check this out, right? Look. I don't know if I just saw that. Let's see. Like a little smirk.
Don't cry.
Look at the way he looks at her. She looks at him. And there's a little smirk right there. I'm not trying to read too much into this, but the idea to paint it as, Mom, if I help you, my kids are going to die. I don't think that's real, and I don't think that's accurate for the most part. It's not, okay? But I do think that obviously, as a husband, you have a responsibility first with your own family, because once you leave your household and you get married, you and your wife become one flesh, right? That becomes your full-blown responsibility. And you have to, if you're going to be assistant family from outside of the US, well, you have to make a budget for that. You have to make a plan. It can't just be, I'm going to send you all the money I have, because obviously then your family's not going to be okay, right? So it's a balance. But this right here, this entire idea is extremely inaccurate in my opinion.
I love my family. I want to help.
I don't want to make you cry or to make you angry to your mom, but
Look at that right there. So all of a sudden he was crying, and now all of a sudden he's back to normal. You see what I'm saying here? It's almost like when I was a kid, right? And I think we all kind of did this with our parents for the most part. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But we always had that entire idea, right? If I'm not getting my way, I'm gonna cry. And hopefully when I cry, I get what I want, right? And sometimes it just wouldn't work, you know, because your parents kind of caught on to that.
sister told you the way to love your daddy and your mommy in Samoa.
Are you saying that you still want him to send money?
I am, because you know, Kalani, when you meet my son, he gave money to me and his dad for everything we need, but he leave us.
So here's one thing, right? I want you guys to understand this. A lot of times, and I kind of do appreciate this, especially here in like Dominican Republic, where you have children and they only really leave the home when it's time to actually get married. That's when they actually go ahead and they leave, you know? And in America, it's not like that, right? You're 18 years old, get out the house, find an apartment, get freedom, get independence. And I don't think that's pretty good, okay? Because you get into a lot of dumb things that you shouldn't be getting into. And it's just a lot worse off you're going to be, because you're going to have to be covering everything, okay? And that's not a responsibility thing in a sense. So when he marries her, before that, well, guess what? He was in the home with his mom and dad, and he was actually trying to take care of them. And it's this whole like, we raise you up so then you can help us. And you get married, but you still have to help us, right? And I understand that. I get that I have to help you. I have a responsibility. You don't abandon your parents, right? But you also don't let your parents take advantage of you, because there is toxic parent and son relationships. Let's just be real about that.
To see your son like crying and like honestly saying like, I need to take care of my kids, and then just basically brushing that off like, yeah, that's nice, but I don't give a like, I still need your money. Like this.
Yeah, even her. Well, let's hear her. Let's finish off her thought.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so even her, right? One thing I have noticed is that usually first it comes from, because you have to understand, right? The man, when he's in the home with the parents and he's helping out, that's what he's basically doing with his parents, right? He's very used to that. So when he leaves the home, he's going to be doing the same. But when you introduce a new factor, which is basically the new wife and the new woman in his life, well, she wants to basically know that the priority is her and her children, not his external family in a sense. And for here, you can clearly see it, right? She's kind of pushing for, you still want his money? He's crying. We have our family to take care of, right? But it's not that. I want you guys to understand that it's not like, for example, it's that if we take care of you, our kids die. It's most likely not that. And it's most likely not also you have to take care of all of our needs from the mother, but it's coming into like an agreement. And the agreement is, I will help you with what I can help you. But it shouldn't be, for example, he needs to be very careful in letting his wife manipulate all his thoughts and having his wife speak for him. He needs to kind of come together with what exactly he wants to do and how he wants to help his parents, and then put that plan into action. Because yes, parents can take advantage of kids. And then also kids can be very just dismissive of parents' needs, and that's not okay. So it's a balance.
I understand what he has to do being Samoan, but we can't give you what we don't have.
Me is your Swedish mother. You must respect me. I love my...
Yeah, look at him. All of a sudden, this guy was in tears and shambles, and now he's like, seems to be back to normal. You see what I'm saying? It's a little childish. That's what I'm seeing here.
Son, I try to be nice to him and his wife. But I think they must work hard and they have money for me. because this is America.
And that's very true, man. Not to the aspect to say that everyone is America is doing well, but even the poorest people in America, literally, we make more money than the rest of the world for the most part, like almost. So when people have this mentality from the outside of the US, you're in America, you're supposed to make more money, work harder, and all these things. I think those expectations she's putting on her son, he does not have to fulfill them. He's his own man. That's what I'm telling you. See, he has to make his own decisions in that sense. And the expectations his wife is trying to put on him and saying, hey, we have our family, don't take care of them, that's also not okay. That's why as a man, he has to come together, form his own thoughts. So what can he do? He should be working to the best of his abilities to provide for his family, right? And if he has extra income, he should figure out exactly what the needs are of his family because he knows them very well. He's lived with them. And then basically try to provide some money to them. It's not saying I'm going to give you half my check, 20% of my check, 10% of my check. It's not that. I'm going to help with what I can help. But my responsibility lies with my wife here. But it's not being manipulated by either woman. That's the thing I'm trying to tell you.
I don't know what to say now because we have different mind, but I just talk to remind you the love and the way we grow up in Samoa.
And by the way, it is very different. You know, in America, it's almost like your parents raise you, you have no responsibility with them. You do what you do. If you want to help them, you kind of can, but you don't have to. In other countries, it is a massive responsibility. And that's not a bad thing, by the way, because when you have children and you raise them up and you're supposed to take care of your parents, you know, if you have, for example, a mom and a dad who can't work and are struggling, you're not going to leave your mom and dad to basically just struggle, right? They're not going to do that. But I do believe in something that's a little bit more radical, and it's that basically if a mom and dad want to basically be taken care of by a son or by a daughter, they should give up everything they basically have. And then they become the new administrators of everything they have, and they help with the expenses in the home. That's the idea. But it can't be, you're my mom, you're my dad, you have your own stuff, and you're also expecting me to give you my stuff. You know what I mean? It should be functioning as a household. And as the son, you become the new administrator because you can no longer work and take care of yourself and support yourself. You see what I'm saying here? So it's like you want to be supported, but supportiveness also means submissiveness. That's the radical idea I have. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so that was the first clip. We're going to move on to the next clip, which is them in a restaurant. And I want you guys to see exactly how awkward this actually gets and how dramatic this actually is, okay? Let's watch.
You know I need money and I want to send some more for the church and for the family.
That's all I afford. Now I have kids and it's very expensive.
But you know.
By the way, guys, did you guys know that after 1960, the average family household in America was about like 1.94 kids. And before that, like around like 1700s, it used to be like around 7 kids, you know, per household. It's not that kids are expensive. For the most part, you know, what I love about minimalism is that it kind of puts things into perspective. It's that people want these fancy homes, they want cars, and they want all these things. And to kind of like have those things that they want and they feel like are needs, they sacrifice having kids and having a lot of kids and so on. It's a fun fact I want to put here. But times have been changing. But the excuse to say that, you know, like, oh, kids are too expensive, I can't help you with anything, that's not true. For the most part. Let's keep watching though.
Your dad and your mom are still alive.
This is probably the most awkward dinner that I've ever been a part of.
I agree. I think having public conversations about private matters is not okay. I think the perfect setting for this would have been, for example, in their household. I think you see people here talking about money and having this big discussion while they're also like eating dinner outside and basically wasting money. If there's a massive problem with money, then why are we eating outside? You know what I mean? So let's keep watching.
I think it's bull that Asuelo's family doesn't really talk about anything but money. Well, I don't really know what Oswald told you guys, but we don't really have anything extra. He's working part-time.
You see what I'm saying here? The wife, for the most part, is the one taking the lead on this issue. That's not okay. As the man, and you know, I'm like that, right? But you and your wife come together and you kind of reach an agreement and you share these values to your family. Because here's one big thing that happens when you have, for example, the husband's family and the wife is doing the talking. To the husband's family, the wife ends up looking like a witch, a bad person, a problematic person. And I think Dave Ramsey also says that, okay? So one big thing is you have to come to an understanding, a concrete understanding of what you're going to do and take the lead on as the husband, as the head of the household. And then you make that idea basically get into the minds of your other family, okay? Because not like, I'm gonna do this, do you think it's okay? It's that, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And they have to accept that, you know, but you have to be honest.
Stay at home, because if we don't have money to give, where is that going to come from?
So if you want to be a man, why don't you work full-time? So you can be able to help your little family and back home, you know?
I try. We send my application somewhere.
Okay, so right here, right? First of all, if I'm being honest, right, this is what I see. This is the sister. And the sister's telling him in a very manipulative phrasing, if you want to be a man, why aren't you doing this? Basically saying, be a man and do this. You don't do this, you're not a man. That's not true, right? It's not true. But if you are working part-time, you can't tell me you can't find another job, right? Maybe you're telling me you can't find the job you want, but you can't tell me there are no jobs available. For example, right? You have like a part-time job you're working, but you can also deliver pizzas. You can also do Uber. There are a lot of jobs where basically all you have to do is sign up for an app and basically do it. And you're able to make extra money. But I think the motivation might not be there where your only reason you would want to get extra money is to send money to family outside, right? So as a man, you should be trying to take care of the household. And it sounds like he doesn't even have that to be able to take care of the household with what they're saying, right? But I think for the most part, it's mostly we don't want to support you anymore. And the wife is kind of like with this idea, and he's trying to pass that on to her husband. And let's just keep watching though.
Like everywhere in where we live, and it's really hard because for me, I still love you guys. But it's like asking Kalani what she think about it, and whatever we agree about, we do that.
You see what I'm saying here? This is the issue. And by the way, can you be in a marriage and make decisions that your wife is not in agreement with as the head of the household? The answer is yes, you can do this, right? And it's not like a bad thing. You will not be, agreement doesn't mean yes and yes, no and no. Agreement can mean, hey, at the end of the day, if we can't make an agreement, I still have to make a decision, you know, and that's okay as the head of the household. So he's putting a lot of pressure here. He's sending that pressure back to his wife. You know, I decided this was my wife. It's my wife, you know. I don't like that, you know, because it makes his wife look bad in front of his family. And he should try to protect his wife's image for the most part. And this whole idea that is just too hard. I love you guys, but I just can't, you know. It's what he's trying to do here is just break that string. I get it, but he still has a responsibility with them. And I'll get more into it.
My mom needs money, and I have lots of family in Samoa, they need money.
Pause right there. Your mom needs money. A lot of family in Samoa needs money, but that's not your responsibility. And believe it or not, a lot of immigrants go through this. I call it the initial phase when you first get here. I had a friend, he won a lawsuit and he made around like $60,000 from it. And he started sending that money back home to Mexico. And there's no money now, you know, at all. And he was trying to build a home or whatever. I don't think he even built the home because the family took the money for the most part. You are not people's like insurance or like social security package. It's not what you are, right? If you want to help people, you know who I help for the most part? I might try to help people that don't have any ability to work, widows that don't have any ability to work, and people, let's say if my mom or my dad who is not alive, they wanted to live with me or they wanted me to support them fully, they would have to give me all of their assets. and I will become the new manager of their assets. Because having full support of someone, right, from me, also means, for example, that now I become the head of your household also. That's the idea. And I'm the one that's going to be managing the money, because I've seen a lot of relationships, and I'm going to be honest here, guys, where you have somebody from outside of the US, like this young man, and he's sending money over to his mom, and his mom is basically just saving up a bunch of money and doing a bunch of businesses and always crying and saying we don't have money, but it's a lie. They have money, right? It can be toxic. And that's why doing this like that, like saying like, oh, I'm going to manage all the money in the family now, right? Not in my whole family, just my mom and my dad. Those are my main responsibilities. Everyone else can just get a job and figure it out. Or if you have a widow, that's different, because they need help and they have nothing to actually, no way to actually live. That's different, right? Charity is a great thing, and you don't have to be taken advantage of because you want to be charitable.
Because my family is poor. I know that my family is very disappointed, but I want to support my wife and also the boys. We don't have really much money to spare. One day, maybe if I have a lot of money.
You know, this reminds me of people that don't give to charity. Their answer is always because we don't have enough money. If you never give to charity when you have $10 and you can't give $1, when you have $1 million, you're not going to give $100,000, because you're going to always be assuming it's so much money. You don't give of what's extra, you give. You know, that's the idea. And you don't have to give a lot. You don't have to give to meet someone's expectations. That's the whole idea. You give with your heart, right? And you have to make a plan. This guy's over here telling me that he doesn't have any money. He's eating outside and he's working part-time, right? There's hours you're not working and there's money that you're wasting. It's clear to see.
Send to my family, but for now, I need to take care of my wife and the boys first.
Where's your mind? Where is your mind now? Danny and his parents, they have a lot of money. They will take care of the kids.
I don't want to ask Kalan.
So this is the different culture. And look at the way she looks at her now, right? Because it's almost like saying, well, the mom's saying her family that has a lot of money can help you, right? And now you help us. She's not happy with this statement. And I don't think when you're a man, you should be getting married if you are not like able to actually take care of a wife and children, man. This whole idea of getting married to kind of figure things out and see what happens is ridiculous. You know, you get married when you have a mission, when you're established, when you're able to take care of a wife and also children. If you're not ready to do that, it is okay to get married in your 30s, in your late 20s, or even in your 40s. I wouldn't wait too long though, because some people just keep waiting and waiting while they're building and building and building. And when you actually take things into perspective, you don't need that much to be able to accomplish this. You don't need the craziest income to be able to accomplish this. A lot of the times is that I want a bigger house, I want a big car, I want to be able to go on vacations, and those are all things that are not needs, man. They're not.
His parents, they help a lot, but I don't want them to support everything.
Back home, we gotta put our parents first no matter if we're married. We're supposed to take care of them and send money no matter what.
Okay, pause right there. This sister is out of line completely. This whole narrative is ridiculous. I don't care back home or where this is at, but you know, according to the Bible, right, the authority, when you actually get married, you become one flesh with your wife. Your responsibility now lies with your wife. You leave mother and father behind. That is your main responsibility. If you only have $1, that dollar goes to your family. Your energy goes to your family. But that's not what's happening here. We have dishonesty on both sides. That's what I can kind of tell here by these clips, honestly. You have the dishonesty of a man who works part-time and a man who wastes money on eating out, and I don't know where else he has gaps in his budget. And then you have a family that's basically trying to take priority over his primary family, which now is his wife, you know. And then you have a wife that's clearly not happy because she feels like, hey, we're not the primary here. They are. So it's a lot of things that need to be put into check. And that can basically start off by saying, no, my priority is my household. I can help with this much. Or if you want me to support, I'm going to take control of all the assets in the family. It can be toxic when people have ideas like this. You're married, but your priority are your parents. No, that's not true.
Well, do you send money home?
It's none of your business.
It is my
We
business.
are asking my son. Just leave my daughter alone.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't have your wife get involved in these problems. That's why you don't go to Taco Bell or wherever this is. There's a burger there. It's not Taco Bell. You don't go to any public place to actually talk about these type of issues, right? Because it can get this disrespectful. But the main thing is you as a man need to go ahead and talk to your mom, talk to your dad, and if your sisters want to get involved, then you just basically set boundaries and set limits, because this type of disrespect cannot be stand for, you know? As a man, he should basically say, hey, don't do that. Don't disrespect my wife, you know? That's why you have to have conviction behind your decision making. That's why you must say, hey, I'm telling you this. This is not my wife. I'm telling you this. You know what I mean? Clearly, he lacks that, and it shows.
Asuelu,
He's just quiet, bro. Quiet.
before he came here, he worked in Samoa, and that is my right hand for everything. I ask Asuelu money every time. But when he came here, we have nothing. I think Kalani is the reason. Kalani doesn't want to send money to Samoa.
Exactly what I told you guys, okay? That's what ends up happening. You cannot involve your wife in this stuff, you know? You and your wife, you guys talk, because by the way, your wife can see things that you can't see, obviously. And she can see if your parents are taking advantage of you. So if she communicates that to you, you listen and you're like, is that really happening? Is that happening? And then you kind of try to formulate a plan to correct that, okay? That's the idea. Now, I have a third and final clip that I actually want to share with you guys because I want you to see exactly what his reaction is after they disrespect his wife and what happens on that table, okay? Let's take a look at that clip.
Let's all calm down. I don't like bring money to ruin our relationship.
Okay, that's enough. Whatever you told me about, that's okay. But I want to go home now.
I'm done.
I'm done.
Mom.
Now, look exactly what's happening here, right? His mom is having like a tantrum attack, like a 3-year-old, like he just had when he started crying, like prior, right? Now you can see the connection to why he reacts with so much emotion and where he actually gets it from. He gets it from his mother and the raising he actually got at home. And his reaction is, Mom, right? What do you do in a situation like that? When you are in disagreement with your external family, your mom or your dad, and they're trying to take advantage of you in some sense, well, what do? You let it happen, right? You're like, hey, this is what I'm telling you. If this leads to you belittling me or acting this way, you can do that. But do not disrespect my wife. I will not stand for it. I think, let's just see how this ends.
I'm upsetting right now. My family don't want to spend time with me. Kalani explained in the past that my family only call me when they need money. But today, I feel that it's true.
So do you see that? What does this tell you? I just want to put this into perspective here, right? You have a man sharing an opinion that he does not believe in. When he talks to his mom, telling her, we don't have money, we can't send you money and all this stuff, these are his wife's ideas. And how do I know that? Because this is what he just reveals now. He says, Kalani, my wife, basically told me that they only call me for money. And now I'm actually seeing that that's actually true. Well, before that, you should have basically had a concrete idea to why you're doing what you're doing and have a plan. Okay.
That was a lot.
So you see, again, there she is with a little smirk. I think that's very disrespectful. This is a very serious situation and you have like a little smirk from his wife. All right, so that's the end of this clip. So what did it do right? What did it do wrong? And what can we actually learn from this, okay? First, what they did right is to actually have the conversation, honestly, right? Having a conversation is where people can actually understand each other. Now, I dug up some information and I found out that basically, well, they were actually given about $700 to $800 a month over the past 2 years. Almost $15,000 according to what I saw earlier, okay? Which basically means they sent them a lot of money. And in Samoa, the average salary per year is about $10,000. And obviously, this woman has multiple kids. So why aren't the other ones actually helping and assisting? I think the problem here is that you have a toxic relationship. Here is what's wrong. First of all, the mom, they have a toxic expectation of their children. To have children to take care of absolutely all their needs. That's not okay. And then you have a problem with this guy where his priority is not his main family and his wife doesn't feel good about it. And that's clearly why she's telling him what she's telling him. I don't think the wife would have an issue with him sending them money if she knew for a fact that he's actually, you know, not working just part-time and not just saying things are hard out there, right? But putting his first foot first and actually making a big effort, working multiple jobs, taking care of his main family and saying, hey, with this extra money of like 10%, 5%, I'm gonna send this over home to try to help them out with some necessities. And basically labeling that necessity. Now, again, if they want full help and support, if he's actually able to do that, he should have them give them all the assets and he manage it, because that's what supportive relationships are actually like, right? You have kids, you take care of them fully, but you manage everything. You want parents that you want your kids to take care of you fully, you give them everything, because this is not me trying to make you rich with my money. That's not what's happening. It's me just helping you, okay? That's the idea. Now, what can we learn from this, guys? That if you are an immigrant and you actually end up leaving home, you know, come to America or come to where you come and have a mission in mind, okay? Do not just be sucked into the system. You have to basically work hard and make things happen. Don't make excuses and then work, right? But don't follow the expectations of your family back home. And don't think that you sending somebody money is going to fix their problems and make them rich. It doesn't. When a person is poor, it's not just poor because of money, it's also because of their money management. And you sending them more money, they're just going to waste it. All right, so that's the main idea. Guys, thanks for watching this video. If you like these videos, let me know in the comments down below and I'll get to work on more like these. As always, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. TommyBryson out.